day. And if you are just joining us, it is your most authoritative business radio, Broadstreet Radio. It is the station where you get all the information concerning businesses, the economy. And today on Investors Education, yes, pardon me, my name still remains Charles Fakru. So on Investors Education today, we'll be looking at a very important topic, very contemporary issue, and we'll be talking about the tax reform bill, or that committee that was set up. They say it's Taiwo Oyedele's committee, fiscal policy and tax reform. So I am not alone in the studio. The studio with me to do justice to that topic is no other person, because I'm going to introduce him, is no other person than the tax oracle himself. Yes, in the person of Chief Blanke Ijezie. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Charles.
Yes.
My pleasure.
Okay, so Chief Ijezie FCA, is a renowned taxation expert and thought leader in Nigeria as the convener, chief host, and keynote speaker for all 8 editions of Blanke's National Tax Reform Tax Conference. He has demonstrated an exceptional leadership and expertise in shaping the country's tax landscape. So he's my guest today. You're welcome again, Chief.
Thank you.
So
I'm happy to be here.
We'll be looking at the tax reform, fiscal policy and tax reform. So let me just go straight into our business for today, which I will save your time. So Chief, can you just provide an overview of the key changes in the recent tax reform in Nigeria?
Thank you once more for inviting me to enlighten Nigerians on what these tax reform bills are. President Bola Tinubu, in his wisdom, after climbing Aso Rock Villa, set up a tax reform committee tagged Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform. It was inaugurated in August 2023 and had has Otumba Taiwo Oyedele FCA, alumnus of PricewaterhouseCoopers, as the chairman. And they took their time, consulted variously, and came out with the way forward, as it were, in September 2023. And the government on October 3, 2024.
Okay.
And the government on October 3, 2024 passed the bills.
Okay.
Used the recommendations to draft the bills and passed it on October 3, 2024 to the National Assembly for passage, for it to go through the normal legislative process.
Okay.
And that is when the House was to be brought down. The National Economic Council, headed by the Vice President, comprising all the 36 governors, looked at it and said no, that the President should withdraw the bills. The Northern Governors Forum, emirs, and the legislators, senators took it off from there, calling for the withdrawal of those bills. But the President, in his wisdom, said no, that he has moved it to the legislative, to the National Assembly. Let it go through the legislative processes. That anybody, any group of people who don't like any of the sections should articulate them and seek for amendments.
Okay.
And the Senate, in its wisdom as well, resisted the pressures for the bills to be withdrawn saying that eventually they set up a committee, finance committee, if I'm not mistaken, to look at it and carry out a public hearing on it.
Okay.
The Senate has passed it. It has gone to the first one, the first Senate reading, the second one. So it's now after the budget they are considering now. They will finish early next month, February. They will now face the tax reform bills.
Okay. So, Chief, so how do you think the tax reform will impact businesses and individuals? Let's look at it.
That's going to the nitty-gritty of the reforms. I'm an advocate, let me say, so that people out there will know where I belong. I normally like transparency. I'm an advocate of tax reform bills. In 2007, when the former president, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, brought out 9 tax reform bills, I was an advocate of it. I called several conferences at Sheraton Lagos Hotel, one of which was in February 2007. And I invited the then ICANN, Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria president, Dr. Mrs. Catherine Gine-Kamwok Okereke, to come in as a special guest of honor. And she surprised me because virtually the entire council of ICANN came with her to attend the function. And the takeaway from that conference was that the Senate, the National Assembly, should pass those 9 reform tax bills. But eventually, and we used my contacts in the newspapers to publicize it. But eventually, the Senate did not pass it because they were doing constitutional amendments then, and they were considering everything. And because of the alleged, sorry, I'm going back.
So a bit of historical
because of the alleged third-term agenda of the president. As at that time, they threw the baby with the bathtub. So when President Tinubu constituted this tax reform bill, I started, that was in August. Immediately I had it. I started a program I call Blakey's National Tax Conference.
I see.
Bi-monthly. It started on October 10, 2023, so that we'll be considering and be telling them, the committee indirectly, because everything we did was publicized widely in the social media platforms and even mainstream newspapers like etc.
Okay, so what you are saying in essence that you were not a member of that committee, but you were already doing the job of the committee, trying to create awareness for Nigerians to be aware of the reforms that were coming.
Without being seen to be arrogant, that is what I call patriotism.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So we are doing it. And some people say that I should get the committee chairman or some of them to be, I should be sending them the communique. I said no. I'm an independent person.
Okay.
But they will get to hear it because it will be published. It was given massive publicity. And it was done every other month. February, 8 editions, and about 8 newspapers were publicizing it. So most of the things, I'm coming to the question you asked, most of the things we advocated for were included in the bills.
That's the presidential committee's
recommendations and bills.
Oh, very good.
But I wouldn't know whether they were following us bumper to bumper. But the point is that it was giving massive publicity, so they should have seen them.
Okay, so just tell us briefly the objective of that tax reform. What is the main objective?
The main objective, I still go back to, because it's not today, when in 2019, August 15 and 16, 2019, I held a 2-day conference at Lagos Sheraton Hotel, my destination hotel, I normally call it, and the keynote speaker then was Otumba Ayosubar, the current executive chairman, Lagos State Internal Revenue Service.
Okay.
He was executive chairman in 2019. And what was the topic? Internally generated revenue conference. It was to get all the state all the states in Nigeria and the local governments to come in so that we will teach them how to increase their internally generated revenue.
The IGR.
Yeah, and Guardian newspaper, I published for it in Guardian newspaper, and they did me an interview, and I told them that time when the VAT was to be increased from 5% to 7.5%.
Okay.
I said the government shouldn't increase the VAT rate. What they should do is to increase the tax net.
Okay.
Get a lot of people,
number of people to be in that tax
to be
bracket.
in the tax bracket,
I see.
and it will more than be enough than increasing the. But in the wisdom of the National Assembly again and the government, they didn't agree. So what are we saying on this one? Government needs resources. Foreign debts and even local debts, ways and means, CBN printing money, and they go into international organizations like World Bank, IMF. That's how government has been sustaining, but it's not sustainable. Taxation is it, and so we moved in to advise the government through our various conferences that increasing the tax net is it. And that is part of the objective of this
to increase
tax base.
net.
To increase the tax net. What is increasing the tax net? Getting people who we are not paying taxes to come in.
To come in and start paying their tax.
And if they do, you can now reduce the tax rate, which is what the government has done, what the government is proposing.
Okay, so let's come back to the individuals and businesses. How will the tax reform affect SMEs in Nigeria?
SMEs should be very thankful that these tax reforms are coming.
Because they're talking of certain turnover.
Yeah.
Certain turnover of your business.
If your turnover is not more than 50 million, you won't pay tax.
That is in a month or in
a year.
In a year.
It's annually, but if you break it down, it will lose more. But there are some SMEs that their turnover. Before now, it was about 25 million, but it has been increased. So it's a good one. Then for individuals, if you're earning not more than 800,000, you won't pay tax.
That's annually now.
We're talking about annually. When the tax reform was being done, minimum tax, we were looking at minimum tax. Minimum income salary. Minimum salary then was 30,000, and 30 times 12 is 360. So they moved it to 800. But now that 800 is neither here nor there, because the minimum salary is now 70,000 a month, and if you annualize it, it's 840,000. But it's still a good thing that people on very low level scale wouldn't be burdened about taxation, etc. So it's good. And that the government increased to plan to increase to 10% from 7.5%. During our conferences, the last conference, Blake's National Conference we held on December 12th, my keynote address was the way forward, to advise the government on the way forward. And one of the items I said is that government should shelf increasing the VAT rate from 7.5% to 10%. I think I was the first person who made that call until the governors now agreed with my position. Shelving it, then the one of derivation formula that is contentious. I did say that it should be phased. It should be implemented in phases. Now the current tax law being implemented, the derivation is 20%. The quality of state is at 50%, and the population is 30%. But the Taiwo Oyedele's proposed tax reform has derivation at 60%.
Derivation at
60% of the VAT and coming. Then population 20% and equality of state 20%. What is derivation? Derivation. Before now, because there's a distinction, I will be saying what is happening now and what will happen.
What it tends to.
What is happening now is that what they call attribution. Banks, GSM companies, etc. Their head office, most of them are located in Lagos. So when they send their VAT return, it is believe that 100% of MTN, 100% of First Bank, Zenith, etc., all the VAS belong to Lagos
So
State.
Lagos State. Okay.
That's it. Then the formula is 20% derivation. So in the sharing. But now the proposal is that it will be 60%, but now the attribution or the derivation will be where you consume the product.
Okay.
So for First Bank, for example, First Bank will do analysis of where they receive the value added tax, and it will span throughout the 36 states and the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja.
Okay.
So Lagos State that used to have 100% of First Bank will now have only the proportion of the consumption done in Lagos.
I see.
So that is like what I call, I don't know if I'm right, fiscal federalism, because it has now shifted the whatever to the various states. So people who are in Anambra, my state, will get derivation of all
That
the
is
consumption
in that place.
Yeah, in all the banks located in
enough.
Anambra, in all the GSM operations that carried out.
Enough, yes.
That is fair enough.
Exactly.
But people like, if I may mention one senator, let me not mention his name.
No, don't mention
I won't mention his name, but he's a big boy, senator from Borno State. He told us that he hasn't read this tax reform bills, but that he will vote against it, that they should, etc. It's a matter of people have to understand what is going on.
I see. And that's what we are doing here.
So the 60%, if the 60% is based on that, the people who consume the taxes will be happy that they are getting a significant chunk.
Okay.
But I did say when the issue became controversial and contentious, I did say that government, in my recommendation, the way forward, should implement it in phases so that people would get acclimatized, etc. So I did say that probably next year you take 30% as revision, reduce the equality of state by 10%. The upper year you take another 30%. By 2029 you would have reached that 60%. But what the governors did or advised is that the revision should stay put at 20%, which is not really it. I stop it at that.
Okay, so yes, because of want of time, let's look at what is the timeline for implementing the tax reform, and what are the key milestones and guidelines
Timeline. Taiwo Yedele is a very, very positive man.
Yeah.
He did say that the bills will be passed by the National Assembly this quarter one, before April. And if it does, that the implementation will start July 1, because I think in the tax policy that any new law would take 3 months before implementation. Yeah. So by July 1, it will be implemented. And if it happens, it's a big milestone for this administration.
And for Nigeria generally.
And for Nigeria. And for me as well, because I've been on the advocacy for the past 20, 30 years.
Okay, so how will the tax reform be communicated to stakeholders, including taxpayers like me and you, even though you are retired now, businesses, and even the tax professionals? How will it be communicated?
In America, which I haven't been to, I understand that in January of any year, people will be looking for their tax consultants, their tax lawyers, etc., to ensure compliance.
I see.
But in Nigeria, you do a consulting work for even some organizations, and will be pricing you peanuts, etc. But the good news is that the tax laws have been collated into the major one, Nigerian tax bill. It comprises everything: VAT, personal income, etc., capital gains, very comprehensive. And the language has been so reduced, simplified, that anybody who can speak English language would understand it. Probably the committee should equally see how they will translate it into the three major languages.
Okay, so that
but again, when people are sick, or even before, when people are not sick, they go for what is called medical checkup.
Yes, you don't wait to
So
get
I
sick.
would advise Nigerians to be going for tax checkup as well.
I see.
By getting consultants, tax consultants and the experts to advise them, because whatever money you will pay for the advice, you will get the returns in 100-folds, if not 1,000-folds.
Okay, folks, if you are just joining us, it is still Broadstreet Radio, and on Investors Education, we are talking about the tax reform bill. We are looking at, I've seen the good job Taiwo Udili and his colleagues have done. And of course, in the studio with me, I have the tax consultant himself, who has spent over, in fact, virtually all his life talking about tax reforms, tax, I mean, as a chartered accountant and as a chartered tax person. Now, sir, are there any plans to provide training or support to taxpayers and tax professionals to help them navigate the new tax regime?
Well, I believe there should be at a governmental level, but at my level, I've been doing that for the past 15 months. I started it October 10, 2023, every 2 months, and we dovetailed at December 12th, 2024, on a Thursday, and on a Friday, we went to do Gwagwagwangwa at a Sheraton Lagos Hotel to close it.
Okay.
So, for me, that angle, we have had a closure.
Okay.
But anybody, I'm getting, sorry, I hope it's not advert, I'm getting a compendium of all we have done. I've already finalized it.
Okay.
It will be probably about 150
pages
to probably 250 pages. But it has been so simplified. And by the simplification, it's a compendium. What I did is to get most of the newspapers and the social media online newspapers that advertise them free of charge for us, publicize them, collating them, because their language was
I'm making it available to the average investors.
The conference was organized by my foundation, Blake Ijeze Foundation, that I set up as far back as April 2009.
Okay.
Non-profit organization. So the books, the compendium will be distributed free of charge.
Wow.
To major organizations, especially schools.
Okay, so but let me also
luckily,
appeal
yeah,
that when that compendium is out, please, you need to send a copy to Broadstreet Radio.
No, you are my friends. Okay. But the good news, which I want to disclose, is that though my organization carried out all the logistics and giving people free lunch for the 8 editions and the Wagwangwa at Sheraton, but the publication, I'm handling it in partnership or in solidarity or in sponsorship by the Lagos State Internal Revenue Service.
Wonderful.
So they are the people who are actually bringing the war chest for the publication, which is why I say that we will equally distribute it to libraries and to many organizations free of charge.
So, Chief, in essence, that means all the corporate social responsibility you have been doing concerning this tax education to the average Nigerian has gotten government attention. Because if you are telling me now that Lagos State Internal Revenue is going to be involved in the distribution and publication of this compendium,
it has to get government recognition, because when we started doing it, we weren't telling people give us money, etc., etc. We were doing it voluntarily, and the newspaper people that covered it voluntarily.
So let's give kudos to the Lagos State government for this great job you have done now in trying to also support you or support your foundation.
Yeah, no, kudos. I've said it. I've been saying it everywhere.
So is it the governor that we're going to thank for making that possible? You can do that quickly. 30 seconds.
I'm thanking my very good friend. We were colleagues at Pricewaterhouse, Otumba Ayo Subar.
Wow.
Who met me when I went to do what I call vacation, similar to the one, working vacation, similar to the one our president did in
In France.
In France.
Okay.
But I did mine in a Continental Hotel for 4 days
See?
in October. And then, so we walked in, he saw me in the gallery and said, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I just came to enjoy." He said, "Big man." I said, "No, once in a while, you know." And he says that he has been following what we've been doing.
Wonderful.
And he loved it. That Lagos State Internal Revenue Service wouldn't mind to sponsor the publication of
and
the
that is
book.
what they have just
Yeah.
done.
So
Walking the talk.
the thanks is actually going to Otumba Ayo Subar, the #1 taxman
In Lagos.
Okay. But I know that ultimately the thanks will flow up to the governor, Sanwo-Olu, as well.
So we'll just use the opportunity to say, okay, if Lagos State government has shown this kind of, interest in it, we believe that other state governors too, not only in the southwest, maybe in your region, maybe in my own south. I want to see Delta State government, Bayelsa, Edo State, come to the southeast. I want to see Anambra State government, because they say solution lies there. We want to see all the state governors, taking advantage of this your work.
Talking about this, the Anambra State Liaison Office, from the one that we started the conference on October 10, they have been sending at least 3 people to attend to all of them, including even the Gwagwangwa at the Lagos Sheraton Hotel. The liaison officer, Barrister Leo Chibuka, was around. So Anambra State has been coming for the conferences, but they haven't caught the eyes as it were. If you get what I mean. They've been coming for the conferences. And the liaison officer and his people have been inviting me to come to the liaison office to see how it would be, how I could assist the government. Okay. But I haven't had the time to do that, but probably this year. Then again, sorry, I'm wasting time. Southeast Governors Forum Secretariat, headed by distinguished Senator Uche Ekwunife, on November 13, a Wednesday, 2024, he congregated us to look into this tax reform bills, and I was the keynote speaker. And having done a good job, which is I normally rise to the occasion anyway, having done a good job, she decided to set up a 5-man committee, study group, to look at the tax reforms and advise the governors of the Southeast, the legislators, and the senators. And we did a very, very good work. Wonderful. And the communique that we released, as a secretary, I was the one that released the communique, but the other people, it was in accord with everything we did. Okay. We released the communique on December 19, 2024. And it assisted the governors, I believe, and the senators and the
in taking a position
as to
what the reform bills.
Yeah, because the Northern Governors Forum, we are fouling the air as it were, but we straightened it and said that this is the way to go, and they accepted it. So with time, it will happen. And again, the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, Southeast Zone, comprising Anambra, Ebonyi, and Enugu, they held their conference and the AGM in Enugu, November 27 to 29. Okay. I was invited from Lagos, and I flew to Enugu and gave them a keynote speech on tax reform bill, simplifying tax reform and how it would affect manufacturers. Yeah. So, and before then, Imo State, Imo Economic Summit Group, but this one was via Zoom. Imo Economic Summit Group saw what I was saying in other speaking engagements, and they requested me to be part of, to come to the table and discuss and tell the Imo State people how they would benefit from this. I was the keynote speaker, and it was done on a Tuesday, December 3, 2024. So I have, on my own, via my foundation, tried as much as possible to enlighten Nigerians on what is going on.
Yeah, so Chief, let me just interject there. That's true that you have a partner in Broadstreet Radio, because Broadstreet Radio, we are there to enhance, create that awareness when it comes to businesses, the economy, and tax. is a very important tool in economic development. So, Broadstreet Radio, we are ready to collaborate with you to ensure that
Great news.
tax education is taken to the grassroots. But before I forget, I know that you have something that is coming up. Just 60 seconds, because we are running short of time now.
Oh, really?
60 seconds to talk about what is coming up in February. Quickly.
February, after we stopped the eight editions of the Blake's National Tax Conference as a retiree, and somebody stay with super energy. I said, no, I can't just be sleeping at home. Let me move into economic conference so that we educate Nigerians on how to glide over these economic challenges. So we are starting on February 13, 2025 at Barnes Mall. That's our permanent place. Barnes Mall, Victoria Island, the banquet hall, between 9 and 4. We'll be starting the first edition, the maiden edition. And as usual, I will be giving the keynote address as well.
What is the theme of that conference?
The theme of the conference is unlocking financial freedom.
Unlocking financial freedom.
So we will be telling people, yes, the economy is bad, but there are a lot of people who are unlocking financial freedom. And if you follow us, you can equally benefit from it. So we'll be doing it. The keynote address I will be tendering will be retiring young and enjoying life amidst Nigeria's economic challenges. And there are 4 other people, they have their various topics they will be handling, but that is the theme, unlocking financial. And it will be on hybrid. Zoom or YouTube, virtually,
or even
and the
physical.
And if people come physically, my foundation will feed them, we give them lunch and whatever, because you can't expect somebody to travel all the way from probably Ikorodu or Festac or so, and during lunchtime you will ask the person. We've been providing lunch, but the people from Zoo, and I expect the newspaper people, 8 of them as well, to be very supportive so that they can enlighten it, broadcast it outside that place, so that the government and the people who are not fortunate to attend will see. And we will be telling people, we will be hitting government as it were, telling truth as it were to power, that some of the economic policies are really
dealing with the
average Nigerians. So, and I believe when they are publicized in the newspapers, the government will know that we have done something.
Yes, if you're just joining us, it is still Broadstreet Radio, and we've been talking about the tax reform bill until I have to ask Chief the next program conference that is coming up, and as he has told us, the theme of that conference is unlocking
financial freedom.
Unlocking financial freedom. So I'll just appeal to those of you who are listening to us, or watching us in our various social media platform. You can attend that conference, and he has told us
free of charge.
The conference is free of charge, and it's both hybrid, that is physical or via virtual. So you can be there so that you can understand and look at some of the strategies you can use to navigate the uncertain economic situation we find ourselves in Nigeria.
Thank you.
Chief, it's been very, very, very educative and enlightening for you to be a guest on this show. I'll just give you 30 seconds that you want to advise the court. 30 seconds.
To advise
Nigerians generally.
Well, what can I say? We are all in it. But people should try and get enlightened, educated on various economic challenges and issues, so that because there are a lot of people, but I don't want to get it out now until February 13th.
I see.
There are a lot of Nigerians that are thriving in this during these economic challenges. So since the government at the helm, that's administration of Bola Tinubu, has decided not to reverse the fuel subsidy that he stopped, has decided that the Naira must float, has decided that the Band A though NEPA is not usually reliable, must stay, and has decided that the telephone tariff must go up by 50%. There's nothing we can do other than to now seek for education on how to glide over these economic issues.
And able to navigate.
Yeah, to navigate over these economic
and
issues.
Live a life of consistency, a life of economic prosperity despite the challenges.
Yeah, despite the challenges.
So, Chief, I will once again thank you very much for being a guest on the show. So, on this note, I'll say, Avias, you've been part of it. I want to thank my cameraman, at the same time, thank the back boys, the boys behind everything that is making this show to be possible. I want to say, Easy, thank you very much. And of course, I want to say thank you to my chairman, CSU, as I call him, Ayanwu, for making this possible. And thank you. Thank you. That's our show for today. Thank you.